era where all of Lawbree's music friends turned against him, only 3 super glazers were able to save the day. Snack-a-diddler.
Those 3 Big Macs are for me.
Meat-munching Maul.
I'm some OVO, dick-riding, Drake-caping
and repugnant Rory. Aubrey's Avengers, coming to a theater near you.
Lawbrees and Gentlegrams, things look soft. 2 years after Lawbree got tossed and stepped on just like a loft, it's hard to be the boss when you got butchered by the softest rapper in the game, teasing Iceman for the same 2 years. He's been complaining about the changes in the rankings. As you guys probably know, Kendrick went stadium with the shows and showed Lawbree he's been lacking all the growth that K-Dot holds. Now it's time for Iceman rollouts, but Drake still would like to hold out because he's scared of what we know about all the mid inside the album. Leaks keep coming left from right. No release date out in sight. Let's break it down, but do me right. Please subscribe and hit that like. Rapaholics.
That was for a living.
Now, Lawbrees and Gentlegrams, all I gotta acknowledge before we kick off this video is that all Kendrick Lamar did is beat Drake in a rap battle, alright? It's not even something we should still be talking about 2 years later. It's not something that should warrant a lawsuit. It's not something that should cause you to hate one artist or the other. But because of the actions we've seen from one side of this battle ever since this battle ended, it has enabled itself to grow legs and stretch far beyond the 6 weeks of diss tracks being thrown back and forth in 2024.
I study
lawsuit
for a living.
The beef is still alive and well today, and it's all thanks to Lawbree Drake for suing and continuing to take shots sent K-Dot and TDE's way. Like, for real, you guys, every single time I see Drake's name being brought up, I see Kendrick Lamar being tied to it. And maybe I'm being hypocritical because I'm about to do a video talking about Drake, right? But the difference is he gave us things to talk about. He was dissing Kendrick on a leaked diss track. He is not keeping close enough control of his camp to the point where leaks are coming out and information is coming out that he's about to click back up with Future. He's the one making very suspect comments to 20-year-old live streamers.
Huh?
And if his fans are so adamant that this is the biggest rapper in the game right now, then why does it feel like ever since the beef, Kendrick has been painting a whole new narrative, a whole new shape of his career that does not involve sneak dissing Drake, making his new music about dissing Drake? Everything after the battle, every song that came after the battle had nothing to do with Drake. Meanwhile, every new leaked Drake track we've gotten has somehow tied back to Kendrick Lamar. Now, I apologize in advance. I'm losing my voice a little bit.
I study
Kendrick
for a living.
But seriously, you guys, even as someone who people call the biggest Drake hater, which I'm not, alright, I'm just honest with my critiques over here, I actually want to hear an album from Drake that does not contain any looking for revenge type weak shots aimed at Kendrick Lamar in the big 2026. We've moved way past that, alright? The same way I don't want to hear Kendrick Lamar drop a new album and be talking about this beef, right? We're 2 years removed.
Is it K-Dot, is it Aubrey or me? But right now I feel like Muhammad Ali.
I actually gotta give credit to J. Cole because J. Cole dropped an album where the focus was very minimally on his thoughts on the beef, right? He dropped a little mixtape before the album that reflected more on his thoughts on, the aftermath of the battle, and he just posted on his blog that he wanted to give that fall off album a month to live on its own before he did any interviews where he sat down and started answering hard-hitting questions about, what re-inspired him to start concocting some new rhymes after that battle took place, why he apologized, what are his thoughts on Drake and Kendrick. Like, he wanted to let that album live on its own before he touched on the beef. And I think at this point, guys, for everything I see Drake related to be tied back to Kendrick Lamar, it kind of just shows you that Drake fans are just still not over this beef, right?
I don't give a fuck about a K-Bot. That's why I do what I do to you niggas every day. That's why we put belt to ass to you niggas. Guess what? Y'all around this bitch throwing rocks and hide y'all hands. Ain't no throwing and hiding nothing. We hawking y'all niggas down every chance y'all motherfucking get. Because guess what? You niggas not hip-hop, and y'all can't talk hip-hop without the owls. Because guess what? Owls been running hip-hop for 16 motherfucking years. Nigga, Argo been on top. Argo been running shit. Argo #1 album after #1 album after #1 album.
Like I promise you, if we didn't have new Drake leaked diss records to be going over today, I would not be bringing you a new Drake video. I'm tired of talking about this beef. I'm sure you guys are tired about hearing it. We want good new music. And unless we're getting real diss tracks, like, that's my problem. Unless we get a real diss track, which I'm all for. Like, what do we need these little subliminals and these little Twitter arguments where Drake is like cryptically posting on Instagram and liking all these statuses about Kendrick? Like, why do we need this 2 years later, guys? It just shows that they are not over that L, that monstrous L that Drake took. Meanwhile, on Kendrick's side of things,
I study
Kendrick
for a living.
Go back and look at any Kendrick video I made in the last 3, 4, 5 months. It has nothing to do with Drake because every move that Kendrick makes has nothing to do with Drake or nothing to do with that battle, right? Alright, so let's kick this off with our most hard-hitting Drake update here. A lot of you guys probably know Drake has been attempting to make an entrance into the streaming world. In case hip-hop doesn't work out, he always has a backup plan. And as far as the recent strides he's made in the streaming world, well, they're interesting to say the least. So for one, you got this very controversial streamer who's been making a lot of noise over the last few months, Clavicular. Now, this is a 20-year-old, I would call him kid just based off the, intelligence and maturity level that we've seen him portray. But if you don't want to call him a child, alright, then this 20-year-old man who gained notoriety off of using a hammer to smash the bones in his cheeks and his jaw to make them more defined.
Huh?
Yes, this is really his claim to fame. It's called looks maxing, basically doing everything you could in the world to try and look as good as possible, including injecting drugs into your cheekbones, smashing your cheekbones with hammers to make them look more defined, taking testosterone for muscle growth. I don't really know what else, alright? That's about all I know. I know he was also involved in that whole controversy where him and Nick Fuentes and Sneeko, etc., they all played the Kanye West HH song in a nightclub in Miami and then got banned from every nightclub in Miami.
In the morning, if my jaw looks a little weak, I'll bone smash to strengthen it. My ratios are nearly golden now. Testosterone for muscle growth, and as for appetite suppression. If you're not looks maxing, you're not life maxing.
And recently you had this kid, Clavicular, the guy who smashes his face with bones. He was bumping Kendrick Lamar's song TV Off in a Sprinter van in a live stream on his way to somewhere, I don't know where. But while he was bumping this Kendrick song, he's like, as much as you guys might like Drake, like he's talking to his audience, saying like, doesn't matter to me, I still love Kendrick, I still like this song. Now, of course, Drake caught wind of this because the other day, I believe Clavicular was on Adin Ross's live stream. I'm not sure, but this is just what the caption of the post says. I don't really follow this BS, you guys, but this is kind of crazy. We know that, Drake is buddy-buddy with Adin Ross.
Why you say it so sassy?
Because that's how you talk. You talk so sassy.
Nah, I'm saying, no, bro, don't talk to me like that. Like, I'm in Berlin. What the fuck? I don't even know.
When do you get home?
I don't even say that. I'll see you soon, bro.
Okay, pull up on me after tour. Bye. Bye, Drake.
All right, Drake. Have a good one, bro.
I love y'all boys, though.
Love you, Drake.
Love you, bro.
Why y'all be flirting like that, bro?
What are you talking
He over 30 and you about to be 30.
30 is the new 20s.
And apparently Drake went in the chat of this live stream that Adin Ross was hosting that Clavicular was on. Again, keep in mind, Clavicular is a 20-year-old, I would call him child, you guys can call him man. Regardless, doesn't take away from how creepy this is. Drake was commenting on the size of this man's genitalia, alright? He said that Clavicular, again, 20-year-old human, has a micropenis. Again, keep in mind, Drake is 39 years old.
Yo, shout out to all the 12-year-olds in the building. What's up?
And is likely only making this comment because Clavicular had played a Kendrick Lamar song and enjoyed himself while listening to it on a drive. And even this man, Clavicular, who has seen the most outrageous things from injecting peptides into your cheekbones to smashing your cheekbones to try and get a better jawline, even he was in absolute shock seeing Drake comment on the size of his ding-a-ling, all right?
I think. How the f does he know?
We talk about another man's dick, bro. Like,
Dude, that's definitely someone who logged into his account or hacked him or something. Well, I doubt Drake has the time of day to be typing in chat. It's real? No shot. Why the f did Drake diss me? Bro, that's the...
Now, the streaming shenanigans don't end there, you guys, because another update in Drake's involvement in the streaming world. This streamer who, I'll be honest, I don't even know her name, and I'm not going to try to find her name because I don't care about any of this stuff. I just want to show you guys how outrageous this stuff is. But yeah, these two streamers, they were talking about how the female streamer in the following clip had, been reached out to by Drake, and she was basically, elaborating on what her interaction was like with Drake. And essentially it was that he just wanted to see her cosplay. And apparently, according to her, he also himself loves to cosplay. Keep in mind, Drake is approaching 39 years old, and this woman, I believe, is no older than 25. And Drake is reaching out to her to cosplay, allegedly.
I seen a picture of you and Drake. Like, you and Drake were dating or something?
No, we never dated. We just, like, I was on a stream and he was there, and we just hung out a little bit, yeah. He's very cool, he's very nice. He's a gentleman. Why are you making that face?
Wait, so you went on a date with him?
No, it wasn't a date. It wasn't a date.
So what was it?
Just hang out. He's into cosplay as well, so he wanted to see like my cosplays and shit, and we went to a dinner and shit, and that's it.
You role played with him?
No, what? No. He just saw my Instagram and stuff. That's it.
I know Drake does not know nothing about cosplaying. That boy just said that just to have you, bro.
Well, he didn't have me, so.
No way, Drake.
No, Drake did not.
But he took you on a date? No, it wasn't a date, right?
No, it wasn't a date.
Yeah, you guys, so you heard that. Drake allegedly loves to cosplay, right? I mean, we heard this from Kendrick Lamar. The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and spiraling. Well, the famous actor we once knew is now a cosplayer, apparently. We know he's been cosplaying as the phony Montana mob boss. Now it's looking like he might be cosplaying as a 25-year-old female streamer with his new friend here. But let's move on to the music side of things, alright? Because it's looking like the fate of Drake's streaming career is almost as bleak as the fate of nearly every rap battle he's been a part of.
I study.
Now, he's been teasing for months at this point that Iceman is on the way, right? I said in my last video, have we ever seen an artist actually begin a rollout, nearly complete it by dropping 3 singles? Yes, Drake has dropped 3 singles for Iceman, and then completely just canceled the entire rollout and wait another 8 months before you restart it. That's what's happening here, you guys, because it's approaching April, and I don't think we're getting this album until May by the earliest, and he started teasing this thing in June of 2025, almost a full year ago. It shows you how unconfident he's been with the reception of the music he's been putting out ever since this battle ended, and he knows, or he likely knows, how important this specific album actually is for his career.
Spicy.
This is really, in my opinion, from a hip-hop perspective, make or break for Drake. So, of course, we're getting more signs that the project might be dropping soon, or he's at least about to, revamp the rollout, right? And how do we know this? Well, I mean, the OV hoes, they get some really great clues, guys, all right? So, for the last few years, his Instagram picture, Drake's Instagram profile picture, has been different pictures of Lil Wayne. And recently, after I believe like 2 years, someone said on Twitter, this is the first time in 2 or 3 years that Drake has actually changed the Lil Wayne picture that is his profile picture on Instagram. So as you can see, it's a picture of Weezy F, the GOAT, before his performance on the Jenny Jones show in Chicago in February of the year 2000. And I mean, I was trying to think of some significance with this photo, just because, I mean, I'm a big Lil Wayne fan. And this was a pretty big time in Wayne's career, because just about a year after this, all his fellow Hot Boys members would leave Cash Money, leaving Wayne as, the flagship artist of the label. And that's really when he kind of blossomed into his own and, became the best rapper alive. So maybe Drake is trying to say that, right? Like, his back is against the wall. Everyone's abandoned him, and he is on his own, just like Wayne was back then.
Oh, Lil Wayne's just too good. Oh, Lil Wayne's just too good.
Speaking of Wayne, on a side note, we know how Wayne always forgets the lyrics to his songs. I mean, sometimes he literally doesn't even remember bars that he himself wrote or rapped. And he was actually the last rapper to tour with Drake before Kendrick Lamar sent those shots on Like That. And then the whole beef, of course, kicked off. Now, Wayne had actually said that, regardless of all the trouble he goes through trying to remember his song lyrics, Drake actually gave him a massive tip, which was to study massive tip
for a living.
Which was to use these little TV monitor screens while you're doing your show so that you can read the lyrics of your music off of those like teleprompter style things while you perform. So we know that Drake loves to cosplay, and I guess he's trying to cosplay as if this is back in the olden days where he's Jimmy off the grassy reading his lines off of a script. Instead, now he's reading these phony Montana bars off of a teleprompter. They're always trying to find an angle to hate on Kendrick Lamar for doing those stadiums, but I didn't see Kendrick Lamar reading off no teleprompter when he was doing those stadiums, even the ones in Toronto.
I had to go on stage one day for Drake. When I went on stage, I noticed that he had these little televisions all around the TV. I thought it was just like a stage prop, but then I noticed it was like little prompters with his lyrics, and I was like, "You could do that." And once I saw that, I got everything. Everything was perfect after that.
And honestly, I'm sorry for that comment, you guys, all right? I hate to compare Kendrick Lamar to Drake, the stadiums, the teleprompters, but I'm telling you guys, people around Drake will force every single hip-hop fan to remember that this beef happened and the outcome of it based off of their commentary. I mean, you even have people like Gordo, who is out here apparently working heavily on Iceman, but still has the time to sit down and do interviews to talk about how whack it was that the whole world believed the lies that Kendrick Lamar told on Not Like Us. And he also said, which I find interesting, that this whole beef and the loss that Drake took, or whatever, he wouldn't perceive it as a loss, but, you know, the stress that Drake endured from that battle basically woke up a beast in Drake artistically that we haven't seen in many years. Spicy. And I just find that so hilarious, you guys, because if, you know, these people are pretending like Drake, you know, has no chink in his armor, like he hasn't lost a step, but at the same time, then you get comments like this where they're talking about, you know, oh, we haven't seen Drake in this form in a long time. Like, that's when you know the glory days are behind you. And I'm not saying this to hate. Like, this is what we used to do with Kanye West, right? Remember when Kanye was putting out, like, those skits, like, I miss the old Kanye? Like, in 2016, right? Like, people were saying in 2016 that they missed the old Kanye. We had, like, Lil Wayne in 2013 when he started releasing I'm Not a Human Being. People were talking about what happened to Wayne. I missed the Drought 3 era Wayne, right? But on the flip side, look at artists like J. Cole. He just released The Fall Off. Do you hear people talking about, oh, I miss the old J. Cole? Like, you could think, okay, The Fall Off maybe isn't his best album, but I don't see anyone saying, like, I miss that 2014 Forest Hills Drive Cole or that Born Sinner Cole. No, because ironically, even though his album is called The Fall Off, we don't see such a massive decline in quality from J. Cole. Same thing with Kendrick, right? When he dropped GNX, we're not like, oh, I wish he would go back to the Mr. Morale or the Damn days, right? Even guys like Future. Future had such an iconic run in 2015 with DS2 and all the mixtapes, but even now with him releasing, you know, tons of new work almost every single year, you don't really hear people talk about, you know, I miss the DS2 Future. I miss the Monster or the 56 Nights Future. No, Future continues to evolve. We're going to speak about Future quite heavily very shortly in this video, but take a look at what Gordo had to say.
I was there right next to him during that whole thing, and it was just seeing so many people fall for like lies and like deceit from something is a little whack to see. But artistically, was it fun to see? Now, artistically, with all the music that he's making, they just woke up a fucking beast that they hadn't seen in a long time.
Amazing.
So I think that makes me happy.
Now, you know, I don't want to crap on Gordo too hard because I actually really like Gordo's music. Like, all jokes aside, I think if you're a house music fan, you can appreciate the work that Gordo has put in, but I've never actually heard the guy speak. And I have a, you know, good friend who's big in the DJ scene in Miami, and sometimes I'll go there, watch his shows and stuff like that. I'll talk to the people who are backstage, and they love cigarettes, all right? And for whatever reason, the way Gordo speaks reminds me exactly of how some of the women I've met backstage at these Miami DJ events talk, like mannerisms, cadences. It's the exact same thing, specifically the women who smoke a lot of cigarettes. I don't know why I thought of this, but for whatever reason, the way that Gordo speaks reminds me exactly of a Miami booth baddie who smoked way too many cigarettes.
Seeing so many people fall for like lies and like deceit from something is a little whack to see.
I think he's been kicking it with Drake too much. It's got him talking like a whole female. They're both cosplaying, I guess, at this point. What did Kendrick Lamar say?
And nothing been the same since they dropped Control and tucked the sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes.
Alright, so you got Drake posting new captions on his Instagrams, which have all the OV hosts very excited, alright? So this new one said, this comeback is personal. It's an apology to myself. And shout out to Elliot Wilson. He just had open heart surgery, so pray for him. I hope he, you know, is doing well, recovering smoothly. He made a good point. He said, old leak, new cryptic message promoting the upcoming album. The formula is exhausting. And what's he referring to? Well, the fact that there was a new Drake song that has just leaked. Yes, I'm sure you guys are not surprised because for whatever reason, ever since Kendrick dropped 616 in LA and said that OV Ho might be working for him and that there might be some leaks in Drake's camp, there might be some moles in there. Yeah, ever since then, we've been getting tons of leaked Drake records, dropping at an absurd rate to the point where we don't even know if it's Drake himself that's leaking these songs to test the waters, or if it's people who have just hacked into, whatever database he's storing a lot of his records. And it even happened during the beef, guys. If you guys don't remember, Push-Ups, the first diss track Drake dropped to really kick things off, before he even willingly dropped it, that thing leaked. A demo version of it leaked, and that kind of forced him to actually drop it. Who knows? If it never leaked, maybe Drake would have never even responded to Kendrick's verse on Like That.
I study rap battles for a living.
And whether or not Drake is the one actually leaking these records, I do agree with Elliot in terms of Drake's team is obviously aware when these records leak because they actually take them down. Like a lot of these records got taken down, so I can't play them for you guys. So they're aware of them going on. And then right when they leak, Drake ends up posting these cryptic messages on Instagram talking about, the comeback is going to be personal. It's an apology to myself. What does that even mean exactly? What are you apologizing for? The lackluster effort that you put into For All the Dogs or most of your previous albums in the last few years? Maybe your, efforts in the battle? Is that what the apology's for? Well, he should be apologizing to his fans and to the world for these horrible leaks that keep coming out, because I've been saying, I'm really willing to give Drake a fair shot with Iceman. I'm looking for something new, something innovative.
Cap.
But it sounds like we're getting the same thing over and over again. If you guys have heard the song Give Me a Hug, if you guys have heard the song You Broke My Heart, 2 songs from Drake over the last few years, then you would know that this new leak sounds exactly like that. From the production to the flow Drake is using to the vocal inflections, the voices he's using, everything about this song just sounds like something we've heard from Drake over the last few years. It's exhausting, it's annoying, and the thing that's even worse is the fact that for whatever reason, whenever he actually recorded this song, I literally thought it was AI. I tweeted out the record on Twitter and I said, this has to be AI. Apparently it's not. And of course on it, he's sending shots. He specifically name dropped Serena Williams and Schoolboy Q. He says, Serena, but I'm cool with Venus. I be hanging around those people like I'm Dua Lipa. I might hit up effing Schoolboy and do a remix. Cause you put your people on, but they're making peanuts. We don't ever piece it up, the stuff we got between us. Now, I could be wrong, but I do think the last Kendrick Lamar and Schoolboy Q collab that we got was the Black Hippie That Part remix in 2016. So it was a long time ago. And here Drake is talking about, I might hit up Schoolboy and do a remix, and then basically says, you put your guys on, but they're making peanuts. Essentially implying that Kendrick Lamar put Schoolboy Q on, but in the end, didn't do enough for him to the point where Schoolboy Q, is prospering. He's making peanuts, quote unquote. Now, I find that ironic because right after the beef, Schoolboy Q actually had a show scheduled in Toronto at a venue that Drake was allegedly part owner in, and somehow at the very last minute, for no reason at all, it got canceled. Schoolboy Q went off at the time. He said, they just canceled my show in Toronto. Canadian police don't want nobody from TDE performing. Top Dog was just with Lil Wayne and Baby SMH. PARTYNEXTDOOR just had a show at the Palladium in LA. If we wanted to get y'all, we would have just did it. Now when somebody gets hurt, don't cry. Actually, I get it. Never mind, this stuff is low-key hilarious. I don't know why Kendrick put me in that effing video. Sir from TDE also had a show that was canceled in Toronto around this same time. And I'm assuming this is around the time that Drake actually, recorded this record. But it's kind of exhausting, honestly. I think that Dog Ninja makes a good point here. These subs are weak as hell, especially when you consider the fact that Schoolboy Q is more successful than anyone signed to OVO Sound. Now, you could make the debate for PARTYNEXTDOOR, but I do think it's kind of an interesting conversation, right? Does Drake put more people on than Kendrick has? Because that's what he's implying here, right? You put your guys on, but they're making peanuts. Don't forget that Schoolboy Q was actually performing on the Stadium GNX tour with Kendrick Lamar back in December of 2025. So I don't know if he's making peanuts, but who puts more people on, Drake or Kendrick? This is a big kind of thing people are talking about because they're saying, Drake hasn't been doing these features, doing these stimulus packages with the new artists. So that's why you don't see, any massive brand new type of hip hop hits or new sounds, because Drake is not stamping any up and comers like he did with The Weeknd or McConan or Migos or whoever. And to me, the only thing I'll say is, all of these collaborations that Drake did in the past, they were very calculated. They were smart, and they were good too, right? We all love the Versace remix. We all love, the Weeknd and the Drake collaborations. But they served Drake as much as they did those other artists. Drake would have never been able to adopt the Take Keith, the Memphis sound, if it wasn't for collaborating with Black Boy JB on Look Alive, right? Because he did that, that broke the barrier for him to then go collaborate with Take Keith, use those same flows and those same type of beats in the future. And that's when we got Nonstop. That's when we got Sicko Mode, two of Drake's biggest hits over the last 10 years, right? Those hits wouldn't have been possible potentially without Drake initially adopting that sound from Black Boy JB and Take Keith with the Look Alive collaboration. And what happened to Black Boy JB after that collab? Yeah, the Migos saw a lot of success, but after Drake hopped on Versace, there were several years where they had signed a major label deal because Drake gave him a very big look, but for the next few years, the label wasn't able to market them well enough, so their debut album actually flopped. You guys probably don't even remember it.
Cap.
And meanwhile, throughout that time period where they weren't really generating a lot of buzz, Drake was nowhere to be found, right? But at the same time, during that time period, you saw him collaborating a lot with Future, collecting these Infinity Stones, right? Same thing with McConan. Through those collaborations, he was now able to start being more comfortable getting in a pocket working with producers like Metro Boomin or Zaytoven or Southside. These were all producers who we saw Drake collaborate with very frequently only after he collaborated with these other artists. So you could argue, yeah, he gave Future, his biggest hits, right? Your first number one, I had to put it in your hand. He gave Migos their first massive hit, I guess you could say, right? With the remix of Versace. He gave McConan a huge look. I do think Drake has a much bigger habit of looking for that up and coming talent and trying to, hop on their wave, hop on their music early on before anyone else, more than Kendrick does. Kendrick, that's not really Kendrick's strategy, right? He kind of just does his own thing. But
I study for a living.
At the same time, yeah, you could say, okay, he's putting these people on, but it serves Drake, like I said, as much, I believe, as it serves these other artists, because Drake then gets to adopt their sound, their lingo, their producers, right? It's a very mutually beneficial relationship. But if you're talking about people who both of these artists directly put on, you have to look at the artists that either they signed or they worked very closely with for a large period of time. Because if you're talking about putting someone on, it takes a lot more than just one feature, one collaboration, one look, right? Because if that was the case, a lot of OV hosts try to say Drake put Kendrick on because he featured him on a arena tour before Kendrick put out Good Kid, Mad City.
It's people I can put on here that the label wants me to put on here, but I fight for this one reason, man. I fight to promote what I love, you know what I'm saying? I fight to promote the music that I truly love. So when I get in the car, the rare moments that I get in the car, drive, this is what I'm listening to, other than myself, other than, the family, this is what I'm listening to. So it's only right, man. I feel like everybody on this tour just has it right now. I feel like this is a moment in time.
Yeah, that was a big look for Kendrick at the time, but that didn't put Kendrick on, right? That wasn't an integral part of the development of Kendrick, the artist. The same way, the My Way remix with Fetty Wap and Drake was a big look for Fetty Wap, but that didn't put Fetty Wap on, right? One feature is not putting you on, but both of these guys have, dabbled in either signing artists or working very closely in-house with artists on the same label as them. With Kendrick Lamar, like Drake mentioned, you had Schoolboy Q and all of Black Hippie, Ab-Soul, J-Rock, and then all the other TDE members, Isaiah Rashad, SZA. Kendrick's done music with all of them. I don't think Kendrick, quote-unquote, put them on, but you could make the case that, a lot or all of TDE's artists really blew up on a mainstream level only after Kendrick Lamar blew up with Good Kid, Mad City, right? And then look at Baby Keem. Baby Keem absolutely developed his own audience and artistic identity before even standing next to Kendrick Lamar and letting the world know that they were related. But once he signed to PG Lang and they did Family Ties together, his career took off to a whole other stratosphere, and we know that Kendrick's been very close in his corner, not just ever since, but even before that, right? He's been very close with Baby Keem ever since Baby Keem was around 14 years old in terms of them collaborating on music together. That's actually putting someone on, right? And you could argue Drake has done the same with PARTYNEXTDOOR or The Weeknd. But I would have to then go back again to the mutually beneficial relationship, where we see Kendrick Lamar actually ghostwriting for Baby Keem, which is ironic because in, Drake's diss song, he was saying that Baby Keem was writing for Kendrick, even though Baby Keem was playing Minecraft when Kendrick Lamar was releasing Good Kid, Mad City.
Kendrick just opened his mouth, and I'm about to put my dick in it right now. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now.
But yeah, you got 10 Kendrick Lamar reference tracks for different Baby Keem songs. And on the flip side, the artists that Drake has put on, aka The Weeknd and PARTYNEXTDOOR, Those two artists are, of course, notorious for gifting Drake some of his best music, right? Like his biggest records. Work was a song that PARTYNEXTDOOR wrote. And yeah, Drake's only the feature on that song, but that was a massive song that came out of the OVO camp. All those songs off of Take Care, the R&B leaning songs, most of those were written by The Weeknd. A lot of the songs on If You're Reading This Is Too Late, from Company to Legend, those were written by none other than PARTYNEXTDOOR. Even Future had written songs for Drake like Feel No Ways, right? And this is not even me saying that, Drake has a million ghostwriters and he can't write. Ghostwriters aside in this conversation, we're just talking about people who Drake put on. I mean, look at what they've done for him in return, right? It's been a very mutually beneficial relationship. And if you want to talk about, getting peanuts or whatever, where would The Weeknd be if he ended up signing to OVO and never did his own thing, right? And on the flip side, would The Weeknd have blown up on his own without that Drake cosign? Would Baby Keem be reaching these heights without the Kendrick Lamar cosign? I think these are, interesting questions to ask. But anyways, about this new Drake snippet where he's talking about, Kendrick Lamar puts his boys on, but they're only making peanuts. Even Snacka Diddler did not like this new snippet.
Let's talk Drake and let's talk Iceman, all right? So there is a new snippet floating around, and supposedly this is from a Drake song, and this is supposedly where Drake is name dropping Serena Williams and Schoolboy Q. The lines goes, Serena, but I'm cool with Venus. I be hanging around those niggas like I'm Dua Lipa. I don't really get that one, but okay. Then he says, I might hit up fucking Schoolboy and do a remix because you put your niggas on, but they making peanuts. Okay. I hear the name drops. I'm just trying to see if it's so clever. You're like, oh shit. And then the last one is, we don't ever piece it up, the shit we got between us. Okay, let's hear the snippet. I'll be the first to say it. I don't like the snippet. I don't like it. I'm going to be honest. I think the snippet is, and I think this should dispel all rumors that Drake, because there's these conspiracy theorists that really think Drake is leaking his own music. Like Drake is like, oh, Drake is testing it. First of all, I'll tell you this, verbatim from Drake don't want to use the crowd as A&R. Like he's going to drop what he want to drop. But there are people who feel like Drake is testing. Now, the reality of why I don't like this snippet, it could be a fire song. I don't know. It's clear that somebody picked the snippets where he's probably name dropping. And I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't give me enough of the song that I could be like, oh, it's fire. Like it should have been 20 more seconds or at least 30 more seconds. I'm like, oh shit, nah, this is a bop. So I really can't tell nothing from it. And these lines kind of stick out awkward because you could tell whoever made the snippet just want us to hear the fucking, the name references. But the majority of why I don't like this snippet is because, remember, I'm telling you, Drake ain't leaking this. So this is probably coming from, remember the story I told you? I think that's what's happening. A bunch of Drake records got leaked. Again, this is me assuming. I haven't talked to him or confirmed it with them. But the record that I had played that time, those were leaked records that hackers had. So the hackers had leaked records by Drake. And them having leaked records by Drake, they were trying to resell them on some secondary market. Okay? I heard those hackers, once Drake figured out that some of his music got leaked, he was trying to stop the leak. The hackers eventually just released it though. Okay? Supposedly they were charging him $250,000. That was which I think that's insane. Now, that's where I'm thinking the origin of these leaks are. So these are not he's not leaking it out to somebody. No. That's where I think the origin of these leaks are. What does that tell me though? The songs that got leaked in that manner, where these hackers got it, they're from an era which is like a year and a half ago. It's not new. So about a year and a half ago, he was cooking up, making all type of different songs. Obviously, he was still working on an R&B album, Some Sexy Songs for You, but obviously, with probably the thought of mine, Iceman on the way, right? And while doing that, he's cooking up a bunch of songs, and some of these songs either didn't make the cut for Some Sexy Songs for You, because Some Sexy Songs for You did have some hip-hop songs. And those are the songs that get leaked. So number one, the songs that's getting leaked is not from even his current cook-up or his current recording, and it's kind of songs that already got rejected from being on a project that he put out. The second thing, or maybe the third thing, I'm not sure where I'm at with the numbering.
Those 3 Big Macs are for me.
Why I don't like the leak is because it makes it feel, and leaks do help you kind of see where your artist is at. It makes it seem like Drake is in the studio cooking up a bunch of rhymes about TDE. With all due respect, I don't even think Kendrick Lamar remembers Schoolboy Q's name. Like, no disrespect to Schoolboy. It's like, it would be preposterous for me to listen to even Drake mention Schoolboy Q. Like, respectfully. Like, Schoolboy Q sold like 30 copies. Like, respectfully. You know what I mean? And my thing is that this leak makes it sound like Drake is like still in the studio salty as fuck.
Yeah, if I had to assume, I would say this is, probably a song that was recorded back in 2024 or early 2025, and I don't think this is something that Drake intentionally leaked. I think there is a bigger problem in his camp, which we'll touch on shortly, but it still begs the question, like, dude, these bars are absolutely horrible, right? Like, if this is what Drake was cooking up to try and, reflect on the entire beef, it makes you think he's a bigger sore loser than we actually thought, right? Because on one end, he's talking about F a rap beef, I'm trying to get the party lit, and, if you're actually on top, then every girl would be twerking with a dictionary. But then here you have him crying about that very same rap beef while he's attempting to make a party record, talking about, you'll never piece it up, and you don't do nothing for your boys, you don't put them on, they're making peanuts. He has to diss Serena Williams in there too as well, which makes me assume that this was probably recorded after the Super Bowl when she was crip walking during Kendrick's performance, right? Just seems like nasty, sore loser energy. And I mean, I'm not going to hate on this leak too hard just because, again, it is a leak, right? This isn't something that Drake put out. If he put this out himself, I'd be like, damn, this guy really needs a therapist after this whole beef. But this is something he probably cooked up, on his own, never planned to release it. And here we are. Now, like I mentioned before, this has been a recurring theme for Drake over the last really few years, right? There have been like over 50 Drake songs that have come out since the beef ended. And a lot of them were actually just randomly leaked online. We don't know who was leaking them, if it was someone who was stealing them from directly Drake's camp, or, maybe they were sent back and forth between producers, and that's how people got their hands on them. Who the hell knows? But there's been a lot of leaks, all right? And it leads to a darker issue. If you notice, there's been, this pattern of the songs that end up leaking from Drake are actually diss records. You had that Fighting Irish freestyle where he's dissing LeBron. You had recently the record where he was talking about, we're not like you and we never want to be like you, in reference to Not Like Us, obviously. You had the record that Akademiks premiered on the night that J. Cole released The Fall Off, where Drake was rapping about, never piecing it up with his label. A lot of times as well, you're not even getting the full record. You're just getting like these little sound bites of these songs where Drake is talking about the beef, which is disturbing in and of itself, right? It's almost like someone's out to get Drake here, where they're just leaking like 10-second snippets of these songs where Drake is talking about the label, talking about Kendrick, talking about the battle in general. And Akademiks, who had, premiered some of these Drake leaks on his live stream, he says,
those 3 Big Macs are for me.
He says they weren't sent from Drake, but instead they were sent from hackers who are trying to extort Drake. Now, the thing is, right, like, I wouldn't put it past Akademiks to lie to make Drake look good and, tell the world, oh, Drake wasn't the one who told me to leak this song on the night that J. Cole's album dropped, when in reality it really was Drake who did that. But here you have Akademiks talking about, these hackers who are leaking these songs are trying to extort Drake. That doesn't make him look good. So I don't think Akademiks would concoct this story that makes Drake look bad to hide the fact that in reality Drake was just sending him these records to premiere, right? I genuinely think he's telling the truth here, because the truth does not sound good for Drake. It sounds like there's a group of hackers online who actually possess the Iceman album, or a lot of records that Drake has recorded since the battle where he's discussing the battle, and they're dangling it over Drake's head where he can't really control what ends up coming out, and some of the songs that he actually wants to use on the album can just be, plopped onto the internet at any point in time without his control.
A couple of those snippets got out, and I don't even know how they got it, but some fucking hackers got the snippet. What happened was, and I'll be all the way honest now. The reason why I was trying to say, like, when it comes to like that song, like even me and Drake had some words or like our team, we had some words about it, is that the hackers were trying to extort Drake for the record that they had, because he was contemplating maybe he could, it could be in the mix for Iceman. And supposedly when, now y'all gonna really hate me. Supposedly when I play like a small snippet, they're like, oh shit, the record is out of our control. They fucking leak it, right? But supposedly Drake may have paid. I don't know what the fuck happened. But it's hackers. It's not Drake giving me. I keep thinking Drake giving. There's records of Drake that's out there that people are paying thousands for. So when they see me with the record, they're like, wait, did Drake leak it to him? Is Drake not trying to pay? So it's a whole thing. And that's why I just kind of fall back from those type of things.
So allegedly these leaks may be coming from a Discord, or not allegedly may be coming from. Like apparently since the Sexy Sleepy Songs For You album with PARTYNEXTDOOR, this Discord has been leaking a bunch of Drake music. Discord is like online server where, hackers, gamers, whatever, just online people can go and chill and whatever, and you get a lot of people who do these group buys for these songs. So like a hacker who possesses a leaked song will post it on a Discord, and people can actually do bids for, let's say you want to pay $1,000 to get this unreleased Drake song. So that's what's been going down. And in one of these Discords, you get a very suspicious message, to say the least, which, if true, paints a bleak picture of how Drake is actually, his headspace going into this whole album. Iceman was supposed to drop this month, but allegedly a producer for the album sold a copy of it to someone for $130,000, and they're now holding that copy hostage against Drake and his team. This is why a few snippets and a leak or two of the project have come out recently. Because of this, Iceman is in a weird spot where it will either be forced to drop before it leaks in full, or it'll be delayed until at least the spring as Drake continues to doubt his album and re-record/swap songs. He's seemingly very insecure with this drop, as it's a make or break album for his career. But I guess Sexy Sleepy Songs For You wasn't the make or break album. Basically, the album is either delayed decently or it's going to be a very messy rollout. Now, it's already been a very messy rollout, you guys, right? Like, if there's one thing that this rollout has shown, aside from, those kind of boring, all over the place, choppy live streams, it's that Drake has been very unsure of the type of music or the direction that he wants to go into. All of the singles flopped, and that forced Drake to have to go back to the drawing board and basically cancel the rollout until further notice. And from that point on, we haven't got a Drake song in about 6-7 months. This guy here is saying that it's basically because hackers, producers sold the album, and basically it's out of Drake's control at this point. A hacker has it, so they could leak it at any point. This wouldn't normally be a big deal. I mean, it would be a big deal, but it wouldn't be the end of the world, because if your album is already completed and, a hacker has it, you just got to announce the release date. You're Drake, you're huge. Say Iceman is dropping next week. The world will go and tune into it, right? So even if a hacker leaks it a week before, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, it sucks, but that used to happen all the time back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember back when CDs were a big thing, and like you had to actually submit your CD to the label and they would get shipped to Target and Walmart. You'd have like these Walmart employees before the album came out take a copy home of the CD and then leak it online. And you had a million albums back in the day leak weeks before their actual release date. The problem with this Drake album is that apparently, according to this Discord post, that he's extremely insecure about the project and he keeps going back to re-record things. Again, he was testing the waters with a lot of the music off of those Iceman live streams, and when they didn't do very well, he basically stopped the rollout and went back to re-record. So this person is saying, like, he's stuck in a very difficult position because a hacker could leak the album at any moment's notice, but he's not even ready to drop that album. He's insecure about it. And because he keeps delaying it by re-recording, the project's in a very weird spot where, the album as we know it could get leaked at any moment, but at the same time, Drake still can't properly find a direction to go in after 2 years of teasing the frickin' project. Now, to me, here's where things get weirder, you guys, all right? So, a while back, Elliot Wilson on The Bigger Picture, he had said that Drake and Future had actually got on the phone and had patched up their differences. If you guys don't remember, it was Future and Metro Boomin's song Like That Kendrick Lamar was featured on, where he rapped that verse that basically kicked off this entire 20v1. Now, on those two albums that Metro and Future released back then, it wasn't just Kendrick Lamar, you guys. It was The Weeknd, it was Rick Ross, it was A$AP Rocky. They were all taking their own turns dissing Drake, respectively, on those 2 albums. And apparently, after that whole thing, Drake and Future still got on the phone.
Drake and Future gotten on the phone and they resolved their difference. Drake and Future.
What a time to be alive. We're back.
A good authority. Drake and Future have at least gotten on the phone and resolved their differences. So I don't know what that means. Obviously, we saw Young Thug. Young Thug from prison, incarcerated, put out the energy of, hey guys, let's get it back going. So I think that helped the energy when Future reposted it. Yeah. So I know they did. All I can really say is they got on the phone and whatever seemed to be the issues, they seem to come to a place of resolving that. Metro not included. There's no trust there still with Metro, but I do believe that Drake and Future are back on the same page. What the reveal will be, I don't know, but probably with the music, I would think, when it's time. Like, do we get a Drake party album? Does Drake come out with a single with Future? Does Future come out with Future? I didn't even get another Future album. He's crazy. He might do another album. You never know. So I think it comes back out through the music, but I think it's very interesting that, the guy was part of this trust movement, trust you, still don't trust you. But, obviously we know Drake and Future have so much history. Drake obviously was one saying he didn't really know, we never really met Drew. He got the likes of all the taps of all the V20. So it makes sense in some capacity. But yeah, all I know is that I can say with my chest, and people may deny it, but I heard very clearly that they got on the phone at least, and they're in a different place. Wow. Future. So I love to hear that.
Now, this would kind of make sense to me, but it would also seem like a really bad look, in my opinion, because, you have Drake on Family Matters rapping like, the Future stuff made me sick to my stomach because we never even really been through any real issues, and it's just Metro Boomin's a lame, so I know that he had to be an influence on Future. But at the same time, even with that, like, Future still did what he did, right? So to me, if I was like a really big Drake ride or die, I'd be like, damn, like, he just looks weak as hell. Going back to Future, like you run back to Atlanta just to get a check balance, right? How badly do you need to collaborate with Future to the point where the guy embarrassed your entire career by hosting these 2 albums where everyone could come on and drop a 16 dissing you, right? I don't think those projects were specifically tailored to, being Drake diss albums, but there's no denying that a through line of those projects was the fact that all of Drake's ops were on there and they were all taking their own respective shots. You're really going to go back to the very guy who kind of allowed what you perceive to be a 20v1 to happen in the first place? Now, the thing is here, right? Like Drake said on Family Matters, Metro Boomin had to have been an influence in terms of, having Future turn against Drake. I don't necessarily think that Drake and Future had any real issues, at least according to Drake, and from what we could see in the public eye, there was nothing they were actually fighting over. But the Drake and Metro Boomin feud, that was a very real thing. Now, I covered that at length in a separate video, like Drake versus Metro Boomin. I'll maybe leave it in the link in the description, but just for a short summary, how these issues started was Metro Boomin was recording his own album, and on that album he had a song called Trance with Travis Scott and Young Thug. Drake at the same time was recording his dance album, Honestly Nevermind. He got in the studio with Metro, heard the song Trance, recorded a verse on it, and then wanted to put it on his dance album. Now, about a few weeks before the dance album came out, Metro Boomin's mother was tragically unalived by her husband, which of course left Metro in distraught. And at this time, Drake had allegedly been repeatedly asking Metro to basically clear the song so he can put it on his album. Not showing any sympathy to his longtime collaborator for the massive loss that he just took in his family, but instead just nagging him about business and about music. Now, how do we actually know this? Well, Young Thug's jail phone calls had leaked from around 2022 and 2023. When he was locked up, he had actually received a message from his manager who was asking him to reach out to Metro Boomin and see if Drake can get this song cleared. Like, basically, Drake had asked Young Thug's manager to ask Young Thug to ask Metro Boomin, like, hey, I know you just lost your mother, but can we clear this song for Drake that we're all on? And in the end, also, Metro wanted to use that song for his album. And Metro was like, F you, like, you see that I'm grieving right now, and all you could think about is rushing me for this beat and this song that I don't even want to give you because I want to keep it for myself. I was the one who cooked up this song in the first place. You just came in and threw a verse on at the last minute, and now you're trying to insensitively ask me for it while I'm grieving. Crazy. And then you're going to the jail to ask Young Thug when he's locked up. Like, Young Thug is facing RICO charges. Metro Boomin just lost his mother, and you're out here asking both of them, pestering them for a verse. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, these phone calls had leaked, and Young Thug, echoed the same sentiments I do. Like, Drake was probably just very insensitive and, only focused on business, not even really being there for Metro Boomin when he should be.
And Drake's so stupid, he probably just sent the stupidest condolences, like, yeah, bro, sorry for moms, and I'm here for you, bro, whatever you need. Just like something stupid. Instead of giving a nigga some wisdom or something real, you probably just said some crazy stuff on the phone, which is, you still genuine, you know what I'm saying? But you probably said something like that, and then you come right back 2-3 weeks later, like, yo, let me get this on. Instead of, like doing the whole real procedure, calling a nigga every single day, calling a nigga every day, just figuring it out, getting with a nigga, like, hey, where you at? I'm gonna get on the plane and come chill with you, bro. You using the fact that you Drake as a weapon now, and the nigga just not feeling that right now,
Right. Yeah.
Like, you supposed to get on your big old plane and went to where a nigga was when a nigga mama died, because you really mess with a nigga. So you supposed to get on your plane and went to where a nigga was. Where you at, bro? You in Atlanta? All right. I'll be there tonight. Like, nigga, I'm coming to chill with you a week straight, whatever. Because if I was out of jail, I would definitely be with Metro Boomin probably right now. Because it ain't even about music right now. It's just like so much.
So this is where the rift between Metro and Drake had occurred. Now, we know that Metro plays, a really strong executive producer role. He's not just the beat maker, but he's also the one who kind of orchestrates these albums, almost takes on like a Kanye West type of approach, where if you look at Heroes versus Villains, like, he's bringing all these artists together, knowing who to place on what type of production, having different artists go back and forth on songs. Like, he plays a backstage kind of puppeteer type of role, right? So he really did that on his 2 collaboration albums with Future. I don't think Future was, the creative director behind these projects. I think that was Metro. I don't think Future was the one who decided, hey, let's put The Weeknd and Kendrick and A$AP Rocky on these projects and allow them like an open platform to just body Drake, right? I don't think Future even knew that Kendrick Lamar was rapping what he was rapping on the Like That verse. Why do I think that? Well, because they actually did an interview for GQ's Man of the Year magazine series or whatever, and these are the quotes that Future said about the specific Kendrick Lamar Like That verse. There was beef? I didn't even know there was a beef. I didn't even know they had nothing going on. I ain't never participated in rap battles, man. And then when Future's asked, how do you feel about Kendrick saying F the big 3, it's just Big Me to Drake and J. Cole? Future said, I'm supposed to be the one who gets mad. I'm still confused about that. Nobody cares what I think. That's what was so effed up about this stuff, to the point where I'm so player that I ain't even said anything about how I feel about it. So you have Future basically saying, like, I should be mad about Kendrick dissing the big 3 on my own song. Like, what do you mean it's just Big Me? It's no big 3. Like, I'm part of that big 3, right? Like, you're dissing me over here too. Future continued. He said, so y'all just forgot about me? I'm not a part of this big 3? I'm nobody on my own song, man? If I didn't get mad, nobody should have gotten mad. If I would have been really mad about it and I made something out of it, then someone else could be like, oh, I can make something else about it. So Future here is saying, like, if I didn't react to Kendrick, dissing a big 3 on this record, then no one else should either, because, I'm part of this big 3 as well. And they left me out the conversation, right? And it's on my own song. So you could see here, like, it was probably Metro Boomin who orchestrated this entire thing, who had the idea of getting Kendrick on this record, because even Future was pretending like, he was blindsided by the whole thing almost. But even with that, you still had all these people on your project. So for Drake to run back to Future to get that stimulus package from Future, because let's be real, that's what this is, right? Like, Drake works with people who he thinks can benefit him. He's not going to work with Future because he's just like, I love Future so much, like, I missed him, I love him, whatever. I do think they make good collaborations, right? But apparently, regardless of all that, what I think, who cares? They're going to work together on Iceman. This is what Charlemagne had said, and a lot of people who are in the OVO circle, the meat munching manufactured mob boss militia, they're all saying the same thing, that, yeah, Drake really is collaborating with Future on Iceman.
Iceman rumors. Let's hear this.
Somebody told me they actually heard it yesterday.
Did they say it was good or? It was fire?
I don't. They didn't say whether it was good or not. They said Future was on it though.
Yeah.
So you didn't ask them if it was good or not? They said they heard the album?
I didn't care.
And they probably knew he didn't care, so they didn't offer that.
Right, true.
Nothing will ever get you excited about Drake.
Oh. I again, I don't know. I have no idea about that. I ain't even know these niggas pieced it up. If they did piece it up. I feel like Drake wouldn't put Future on the album. Even if it was an old song that already got clearance, I don't think he would put Future on his album unless Future, him and Future are cool, right? It's kind of like the DJ Khaled thing, where it's like, I'm pretty sure DJ Khaled has maybe a song that's cleared by Drake, but if Drake is like clowning you online, saying it must be Drake Bell, you don't throw him on your album until y'all cool. So if that's true, that would be big news. Future and Drake locked in again? That would be cool. I don't know if it's true. Like, I kind of feel like I want to ask Drake, but I kind of don't. I really don't want to ask the nigga. Like, I kind of want to be surprised on this. Even though I kind of do want to know. I kind of do want to know. What do y'all think? Future and Drake, their issue, and I'm going to be honest with you, their issue is like some of the most interesting shit I've ever seen. Because we haven't gotten anything concrete about why, like, we now know the whole thing with Metro Boomin. I guess we kind of know the French Montana Drake thing, even though I think French like kind of like downplayed it. Did you remember French spoke about it?
So Snacka Diddler was surprised, but you had Oviho Mall, the biggest Drake D-rider, who had actually confirmed that he heard, yeah, this is true, Drake and Future had collaborated together. Now, I don't know, you guys, like, listen, I like Drake and Future's collaborations together, but if I was like a big time Drake fan where like I was invested in, you know, the trajectory of his career and I wanted to make sure he took all the right steps to ensure that this album was perfect and, you know, because it's such a big make or break moment, like he really played his cards perfectly, I'd be like, running back to Future is a dumb move because of course you feed into that whole narrative Kendrick had on the third verse of Like That, or Not Like Us, I should say, sorry. But even bigger than that, I mean, this is the very guy who was again responsible for hosting a platform of various artists to come and destroy you. A battle that you called a 20v1, you against the industry. This was hosted by Future, right? And you were rapping all throughout that beef, and ever since that beef that, you know, the first number one, I had to put it in your hand, and without Drake, you know, the game is dry. But here you are running back to the biggest collaborator that people say, you know, you actually need as much as he needs you, right? Like, people don't say like, oh, Future needs Drake. More so, they'll say Drake benefits from Future. But for whatever reason, Meat Munching Mall says it's true. Drake did run back to Atlanta to get a check balance, and we might be checking out some Future on Iceman.
Can you confirm or deny that Future is on Iceman as of March 12th, 2026? Duppy side.
Big fact. Is he on Iceman as it stands today, March 12th?
I just said March 12th, 2026.
He might be. I mean, I personally, the information I have on the album, it's
he's on the board. He's on the whiteboard. He's on the whiteboard.
Ideas.
There's a whiteboard.
Is it a parentheses, an asterisk? Like ideas?
Question mark?
Ideas are being created.
Yes, gotcha.
Let's say that ideas are being created, have been created.
Did they write Future on the whiteboard or say Hendrix?
Well, no.
I prefer Hendrix.
I don't know about that, but I know ideas
or his full government
have been created. Ideas continue to be created. Ideas have been pivoted from.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, it's.
I'm not mad at that.
Where you went to media training school at? They still still open or they like shut down?
Noel told him that.
No, that's just a fact. It's just ideas are being created. It's, you know, the album is being, you know,
fleshed out.
It's still a process.
Interesting.
That's all.
But I thought, because this isn't even information that like we had behind the scenes, I thought it was kind of like known that Drake and Future pieced it up. I saw everyone was like, yo, what the fuck? How could this happen? I thought they hated each. Wasn't that like kind of common knowledge on the timeline? That they were cool again?
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know about that. But, you know, I don't think there's.
I'm tapped in with the Twitter rumors that was going around everywhere, that Future and Drake were cool again.
I don't think it's far-fetched that they may work together again. I don't think that's a far-fetched idea.
Music is exponentially better when those guys are cool.
I would hope to God Drake and Future are friends and make more music.
Need that.
So you guys, if Drake does, get out of his little insecure head and decide to actually drop this Iceman album, it looks like we may see a future collab on it. Now, me personally, I'd actually rather see Rick Ross. If you're going to make amends with anyone, do it with Rick Ross, because you guys actually had some really good collaborations. Same thing with Future. I like his collabs with Future, but I like the ones with Rick Ross a bit more. But it's definitely a bad look for Drake. So if you're an OV ho, it's probably not a great day for you. And if you're not an OV ho, then you probably want me to stop talking about Drake. And to that, I would say there's been a lot of videos on this channel where we have not been talking about Drake, all right? A lot of people like to say, Rapaholics, Drake pays your bills. But if you actually go back and look, I mean, we really have not been talking about this crap for a while. But here we have Drake giving us some BS to talk about. He's back dissing Schoolboy Q and Kendrick and collaborating with Future, running back to Atlanta. So we're going to talk about the BS when Drake cooks it up, right? Now, you know what I was thinking of doing is making a cassette tape, because no one uses cassette tapes anymore, but I think they're like a cool little decorative piece. And we make a cassette tape with a really cool cover art, and on the cassette tape, we put all of the best intros from the channel on the cassette. Those are the tracks on the track list of the cassette. All right. So let me know if you guys would be interested in something like that, or maybe hats or something. Maybe we'll keep it a little simpler, right? In the meantime, if Iceman ever does drop, I'll be back to talk about it. And I promise I will be as open-minded as possible, so you guys don't say I'm a K-Dot Glazer and a Drake hater. All right. Well, let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.
I
Rapaholics.
for a living.